I placed my first sports bet over 10 years ago. Since then, I've gone through all the phases. I've blown up accounts, I've thought I was a genius, I've thought I was cursed, all of that. So in this video, I'm gonna share some of the lessons that I wish I would have learned day one so you can save a decade of experience and get ahead of 99% of people. Believe it or not, sports betting is not about picking winners. Everybody thinks it is. They think if I can just predict the future better, I'll win. If you're trying to do that, you're trying to be a fortune teller. And yeah, obviously you care about what happens in the game, but that is not where your focus should be. Your focus should be getting good value, getting good prices, and staying away from stupid bets. When I first started, I was making stupid bets constantly, but the thing is, I didn't know they were stupid. I watched sports all the time. I knew the players, I knew the teams, I knew the narratives. It was my passion, and I thought that automatically made me a sharp sports bettor because I really knew sports. The secret is, it didn't. Knowing sports did not translate to a positive ROI. It translated to me blowing up account after account because I was thinking I was so close, I just missed by one leg. It wasn't until I followed a few basic principles until all of that changed. I'm gonna share with you the methods that I use now, the good, the bad, the ugly. That way you can avoid all the mistakes that I made early on. And the good news is you don't have to know sports to do this. I will show you how you can use data to lead you in the right direction. Sportsbooks want you emotional and dumb. That is how they stay in business. They want you chasing 6 to 10 leg parlays, depositing after you blow up your account in a night, and seeing all the screenshots of the big long shot wins. Why do you think they market these people who hit these massive parlays? They do it for a reason. They know only about 1 to 3% of sports bettors are profitable, and the others are just going to fund their ads, the bonuses, and make the company rich. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to be on the right side of things and not be in that 97 to 99% of sports bettors who are not profitable long term. Winning and staying consistent in sports betting is about price over picks, small edges stacked over time, and one process that you actually stick to. You are not going to be successful long term if your strategy is trying to hit the jackpot every single day. Trust me, I've been there. For a while, my strategy was hitting it big, hitting insane parlays every single day. And I've hit the crazy ones. I have $5 to win over 1,000, 25 to win over 2,000. You do hit them, but it is not a consistent way to win over time. And I promise you, you will end up blowing accounts if that is your main strategy. My accounts kept going to zero because my strategy was broken. So in this first chapter, I want you to lock in 2 ideas. 1, you are not here to predict the future. You are here to buy at good prices. And 2, you are not here to hit one giant score. You are here to stack small, good decisions. In the next chapter, I'm going to go over this idea of price over picks and how you can know if you're actually getting good value or the sportsbooks are just taxing you to death. So everything in sports betting comes down to pricing and odds. Odds are just the price of the bet. So when you see minus 120, plus 150, plus 300, that is just the price the sports books are offering you. Behind every price is implied probability. And that is just a fancy way of saying, how likely is this to happen based on the market? There are a ton of bets that I look at every day that are very, very likely to happen, and I really like the bets. But the problem is, the book has those already priced in. And yeah, it might hit a lot, but the odds are terrible, the price is not in your favor, so you have no edge. It's like you paying $200 for a $100 pair of shoes. Yes, you like them, but you are not getting a good deal. You are overpaying. In sports betting, that is how you slowly bleed your account down to zero. Your job is simple. Find prices that are wrong in your favor based on the data that you have. If the odds aren't good, you don't bet. You just pass. Most people think sports betting is a basic coin flip, 50-50 odds. It either wins or it loses, but they could not be more wrong. Sports betting markets work a lot more like the stock market. Some things are way more likely to happen than others, but they are not all priced the same. And public opinion and hype can push prices far away from reality. And your edge comes from spotting the difference between a good bet at a bad price you would pass and a good or decent bet at a good price you bet. And that's when I shifted from I know sports to I know numbers. Yes, I still love sports, but at the end of the day, it is a numbers game. It is not a game of sports fans cheering on their team, cheering, hoping that they win their bet. Because when you do that, you're bringing emotion into it. And whenever you mix emotion and sports betting, it usually does not end well. Here's an easy way to think about it. The line of whatever you're betting, that could be points in basketball, that could be yardage in football, that could be hits in the MLB or strikeouts. Think of that as the product. And then think of the odds as the price of that product. In real life, some products are overpriced, some are underpriced in a great bargain, and some are priced fairly. People still buy overpriced stuff because they like the brand. The same thing happens in sports betting. Think of the super public teams like the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Lakers. They've got all the history, they've got the logos that everybody likes to wear, and a lot of times that can push prices on those teams way out of whack. Meanwhile, there might be a boring team that has the same likely chance to win, if not better, but the public is not all over that team. And if the public isn't obsessed with them, a lot of times the price will be a lot better on that prop. And that's where value comes in. Now, are the Yankees and the Dodgers and Lakers always going to be overpriced? No. But if you're able to spot where real value is, that's where you can get ahead. Now, this is where line shopping comes in. Different sports books are like different stores. They might have the same product, but might have a different price at each store on that product. For example, book A might have a team priced at minus 120, but book B might have that same exact bet priced at plus 100. On the minus 120 price, you have to put down $100 to win about $80. In book B, you have to put down $100 and you win $100. That's a $20 difference for the exact same bet. It's the same player or team, same line, but a completely different price. If you're going to be betting over time, the difference is massive. It adds up over hundreds of sports bets. There are a lot of people that are break even or slightly in the negative, and if they simply line shop, they would be profitable sports bettors, but they fail to find the best price for that product at the best store, or in this case, aka the sports books. And that's one of the reasons I built DataStreak's sports betting analytics platform. So you can find the best value bets based on how everything is priced and be able to line shop and find which sports book has the best odds all in one place. Because you always want to be placing bets at the best price, or else you're basically just donating money to sports books. If another sports book has way better odds, you're choosing to pay more when all you could do is place that exact same prop or bet at a different sports book and get way better value and a way better bang for your buck. In the next chapter, I'll show you how you can actually use data to find those mispriced lines and give you a simple checklist that you can follow. Before we talk about how to win, we need to talk about how people guarantee they lose. Number one is betting teams, not numbers. If you're simply ignoring the price, the line, and the matchup, you're really just throwing money and hoping your team wins without actually seeing if you're getting an edge or any real value. And over time, that is not going to end well for you. Number two is chasing losses and nuking. This is probably the number one account killer. And that's where, let's say it's NFL Sunday, the 1 o'clock games go on and you have a terrible 1 o'clock slate, and then you try to find bets and chase on the 4 o'clock games, and then maybe that goes wrong, or you break even on the 4 o'clock games, and then you go and try to throw in a bet on the night game to make up for it all. If you genuinely don't like the number, you are just betting off your feelings and emotion, and that is how you get burnt long term. And trust me, it is okay to have a losing day. Tomorrow is a new day. The best sports bettors in the world have patience. If there's not an edge, they just sit the day out. Just because the game is on TV does not mean you have to bet it. You can still watch it, but it does not mean you have to bet it. If you can kill that urge to chase, you are already getting ahead of most sports bettors. Trust me, it is one of the, if not the greatest, account killer of all. If you can kill that urge of chasing, you are already ahead of 90% of sports bettors. Number three is using parlays as your main strategy. I used to love the 6, 10-leg parlays, $25 to win over 1,000. But I can promise you, if hitting the lottery every single day is your strategy, it's probably not going to end well. 99.99999% of people doing that do not end up in the green long term. They're fun, they're exciting, but that is one of the fastest ways to blow up your account if that is your primary strategy. Really, the only parlays that I like now are 2 or 3 legs, maybe minus 200 and pairing two together, or minus 300, minus 450, pairing three of those together to get around plus 100 odds. That is the only parlay strategy that I think is sustainable long term and is a decent strategy, and a lot of people like using those. But when you're stacking tons of legs that are around plus 100 odds and your odds are plus 1,000 and you have 6-10 legs in that parlay, you're really setting yourself up in a bad spot. And also, even if you're doing those major favorite lines like minus 300, minus 450 and doing 9-10 of those, trust me, those plays, I know people are like, oh, it's minus 300, minus 450, is going to hit all the time. All the time. Those bets do not hit. One of them is going to miss. It always happens. So the more legs you add to a parlay, every single leg you add, the higher risk for that parlay busting, and just one misses and the whole bet is shot. If your whole plan is hit a huge parlay, you might have those big wins, but you are going to go through some crazy swings, some crazy upswings, and then some crazy droughts that will end up eventually draining your account. And there's another hidden problem within parlays that a lot of people don't realize, and that's called the VIG. The VIG is basically the sportsbook's fee that they put in with every single bet. It's how they make money even if the action is completely balanced. In a single straight bet, that fee is already baked into the odds. But when you do a parlay, you're stacking fee after fee. Each one of those legs that you add has a hidden fee inside of it, and you're basically just stacking more and more fees on top of each other. So it looks sexy on screen, the $10 to win 200, but every single bet that you're adding, they're taking a slice away. So the $10 to win $200 on your screen looks nice and sexy, but each bet that you're adding, they're taking a slice. And at the end of the day, they're going to put those slices together and the sportsbook has a full pizza. And that's why those payouts look so huge. But the sportsbooks, to be able to pay you out all that money, they're getting it from somewhere. And that's because they're taking fees from each person who's placing these parlays. So when that one person does hit, they can afford to pay them back and still have a ton of profit from all the other parlays that didn't hit from everyone else. So when you hear a $10 parlay to win life-changing money, just know you're paying way more than you think each time you want to place one of those bets. And that's why I like my 2 to 3 leg parlays with 2 to 3 bets that are very likely to happen. And it is not a way for me to get rich quick. And that's why I like my 2 to 3 leg parlays around even odds, because it's not my get rich quick scheme. It's just a way that I can find a few bets that are extremely likely to happen and do those consistently over time. Because sometimes I'm willing to pay the VIG if I like the value on each individual one of those legs. Number 4 is following picks on social media. This one drives me crazy. There are people out there that say, I have the script, we have the fixed games. I can tell you right now, there might have it's proven there's definitely been fixed games. Definitely people have been caught fixing games. But nobody in the public is going to be selling the script or selling those fixed games. And the people that fall for that astonishes me. How many people fall for people saying that they have the script, they have fixed games? Because if it's going to be fixed, trust me, you're not going to know about it. Those people are scammers. They are trying to scam you, period. And also the people that say guaranteed winners. We have guaranteed winners. There is no guarantee in sports betting. And so if someone's telling you they have guaranteed winners, they're not being honest with you. They're straight up lying to your face. There's no such thing as a guaranteed winner. Even if the game was scripted, there's no guarantee everything's going to go as planned and they're going to be able to script that game correctly. Nobody has the script, but even if it was and they were trying to fix games when refs have been point shaving in the past, they still sometimes aren't able to execute. If they're point shaving and calling fouls, well, if the other team isn't missing any shots, they're not going to be able to execute properly. So there is no guarantee in sports betting, and I cannot stress that enough. On top of that, another terrible strategy that I see is they'll find one guy that they like, place a bet there, another guy place a bet there, another girl place one of her bets, place this person's bet. If you're going to follow someone, You need to stick with one person in their own strategy, and you need to learn why they're placing the bet that they're placing. If you don't know why they're placing the bet that they're placing, you're never going to be able to do this on your own. You're going to be relying on somebody else and somebody else's picks in order to be profitable. And also, if they have a massive group of tens of thousands of people and tons of money is coming in on those lines, guess what? Vegas is going to shift those lines, and not everybody is going to be able to get the same odds. And just like we talked about the product and pricing, you're going to be betting the same product they are, but you're going to be buying it at a way worse price. The goal should be building your own system, not renting somebody else's. If you can stop doing those 4 things, which is betting teams instead of numbers, chasing and nuking after losses, betting these crazy parlays, 6-10 legs plus 1,000 odds, and grabbing these random social media picks, you're already going to be ahead of 90% of people. Now, the rest of this course is going to be how to get into that 10% of people who actually have a system and get an edge consistently. So since we've gone over price, value, and ways that you can lose on purpose, I'm going to show you how I find the most consistent players every single day inside Data Streak. So I'm here on the hit rate sheets inside the NBA, and for each section on Data Streak, I have a tutorial video up top where I break down in more detail how everything works. So if you ever get confused or don't know how to use something, just refer to that video and I will break it down. But this is how I find the most consistent players across all sports. So we're on points here, but we can do this for both teams and players. But in this video, we're going to stick to players. And so I have points set right now. So I'm able to see everybody on the slate today. Let's say 20 points. I can sort by 20 points. And what this does is shows you all the different alternative lines for each player and what percent they've hit that line. So right now we have it set for last 20, but we could switch this to last 10, and we can see in the last 10 games, we've got Jalen Brunson. He's hit 15 in all of his last 10 games. You also are able to look at the line, whatever the line is set at for that day, and we can sort by the highest lines, and then you can see the hit rate. I'll actually sort by the highest hit rate here, and this shows you the hit rate on whatever line is set at by Vegas that day. So you can see, okay, Vegas set De'Aaron Fox's line, it's 17.5. He has gone over that line in 8 of his last 10, or 80%. You can also sort if you want by the last 5, 20 games, season. You can do all the different filters. We also can look at this as, you know, a hit rate if we want instead of percentages. There's a bunch of different filters that you can play around with, but these are how I put together my safer parlays, where I'll grab a few alternative lines. So for example, on 15 points, I might look at someone like De'Aaron Fox. His line's at 17.5, and because it's a lower line and not like 27.5 like Brunson, I know that I can get him at 15.5 at a decent price. And I also want to look at the defensive rankings. Now, these rankings are specific to how that team defends that specific position, because we don't want to just look at overall defensive rankings. We want to be looking at how these players and teams play. Well, in this case, players, how that defense plays versus that specific stat for that specific position. So De'Aaron Fox is a point guard. This is how Minnesota defends point guards. But if we're looking at assists, Minnesota might defend point guard assists differently and have a different rank. So it's very specific, but you can go in each day. We've got the combo stats. You can look at general overs and unders. I'll click here. I have the overs and unders. So this is just going to show all the highest hit rate lines based on the main lines that are set at for that day. Another tool I really like to use is the Streak Finder. So again, tutorial video here, but the Streak Finder is great at, yes, finding streaks, but also finding some of the best main lines. So I can filter here and set to main lines. So we're going to have a lot of odds that are going to pop up here that are normally, when we don't have the filter set, we're going to have odds that are, you know, minus, let's say 900, because they're the highest streaks. But if we wanted to get even more refined down, I can do minus 400, or let's just do minus 150. So I'm looking for straight plays, minus 150 or better, and I can pull up, and each single player is going to have a quality score, and this takes into account a lot of different things. So we're going to see a dot here, and that's going to tell us if they're playing at home or on the road. And we see Harrison Barnes here has gone over 4.5 points plus rebounds plus assists, his combo stat, in 16 of his last 20 away games. Home games, he's also gone 16 out of his last 20. But if we go overall and take all of his just last 20 games, he's only 13 of 20. But what this tells us by what I'm looking at means he has missed this line quite a lot recently. And yes, we can click on his chart here. I pulled up his chart. You can click on any player and pull up his chart and see, yes, he has been struggling a lot lately. That's why he has a high hit rate at home and away, but overall he doesn't, because recently, he might have a game home, away, it could all rotate. You can go in and verify on their chart, and you can also change. Let's say we want to look at his points. We can click to points and we can look at his last 5, 10, 15, 20. We also can look at players, how they play at home, on the road, also the playoffs, as well as how he's played versus that team. So he's playing Minnesota. I can click and see how has he done versus Minnesota overall. But in this game, I can see he is at Minnesota. So he's on the road. How has he played on the road versus Minnesota? We just click here and we can see he's actually done pretty decent, depending on what line we're going to get for that day. And we also can see our defensive ranks and everything there as well. So Streak Finder is a great tool if you want to filter down the board each day. There's hundreds of players playing on any given day, and it really helps me break all of that down. Another great tool to use to find spots is the bounce back spot feature. What this does is find players who usually don't have 2 good or 2 bad games in a row, and it'll find those spots. So we can look at Kelly Oubre. He is 15 of 17 on his bounce back spots. So this tells me that he goes under 7.5. So last game he went above 7.5, and he usually doesn't have 2 good games like that in a row. So I pull up his chart here and I can verify that. So he has a good game, misses it the next game. Has a good game, misses it the next game. Good game, misses it. Good game, misses it. Good game, misses it. Good game. Based on our history here, he's set up to miss it. Now, will he guarantee miss it? No, but this is a great spot to find players that usually don't put together 2 good or 2 bad games in a row. You can do overs and unders, and we can sort here. If we just want the overs, just want the unders. On this same page, we also can go to discounted lines. Discounted lines is super helpful because it's going to take the average of whatever that player's line has been set at the last 5, 10, 15, 20 games. Right here, we're looking at the last 5. We could click here and switch to the last 10. The values will change, the averages will change. So Mikal Bridges right here, we can see that today his line's a little bit higher. It's at 22.5. His average has been 17.8 over the last 10 games. So we are getting value on the under here because normally his line is not set that high. Now, if we wanted to play overs, I can just click over to overs, and we have someone like Keldon Johnson. His average over the last 10 games has been 13.2, but today his line is 8.5. So his over, and it's also going to show you the hit rate. So he has a 75 or 78% hit rate, 14 of 18. So another great tool to find a lot of good value. I also can hop over to alternative lines. Alternative lines is where I find streaks. It's good to find streaks. So same thing with how the Streak Finder works. We can filter everything down, but again, I will put together minus 400. I'll do okay. And let's say I want easier weak defenses. So I can click here and find that, and I can sort by streaks. Also, you can sort by head-to-head history. We can see their head-to-head history. The Streak Finder also has this because you want to know how they've done versus that team in that stadium, whether they're home or away. In this case, we have OG Anunoby. He has 12.5 points in 8 straight games. That's his streak. And in away games at Philadelphia, he's gone 9 of his last 11, and the odds are minus 190. Now, one thing to caution here is he is questionable. We're going to have questionable tags here if a player's on the injury report. That's the reason his line is a little bit low, but we could go down to a player like Paul George. At 2.5 3-pointers, he's hit this in 8 straight games, and we can see at home he's hit it 4 of his last 6 versus the Knicks at home, and we can see the odds here as well. So what I could do is put some of these together, and we're going to have repeat players because we have all the different stats. But if we wanted to do a specific stat such as points, I just click the points and I can pull up that player. Now it'll come up with all their different alternative lines as well, and we have all the different players for that slate. Another cool tool, we have 25 plus tools on here, so I could go all day, is the line movement tracker. And this is great to see how a player's line moved. So we can look at a player like Kelly Oubre. His line opened at 12.5 points. It's now at 14.5 points. It's gone up 2 points. So tracking line movement is another way that you can see which way a player's line is moving. So if you wanted to take his over, you kind of already missed the value. It was at 12.5. Now it went up to 14.5. Sometimes in that case, it could be worth maybe taking his under. It all depends. But if you want to look at his chart, again, you can click on any player at any point and it'll take you to their chart and show you how they've been doing. And then another tool is the NBA Overwatch live betting software. And we have this for all sports. We have it for NBA, NFL, WNBA, and MLB. And the games haven't started yet, but when the games start, live value bets will pop up. So we were showing you the hit rates of players. So whenever a player in the last 20 games, his line moves mid-game, because during games, lines are going to move up and down because many different things are happening during the game. So lines are always going to move. If a player gets off to a slow start and their line moves to a value, let's say 14.5, and they've had 15 plus points in the last 20 games, they're going to pop up on here and show you, okay, this player has hit this line in 100% of his last 20 games, 20 out of 20, and you could take the over there. Same with the under. If the player gets off to a hot start and the line moves up, it's going to show you, hey, this player has not hit this line in the last 20 games. You have a little bit of value there that you might want to look at. So there are a ton of different tools on DataStreak to be able to help you narrow down the board and find everything. Also, if you want to go to like Parlay Pro, for example, you can click there and find all these different parlays for whatever sport. You can switch whatever league you want. If we wanted to look at NBA, we could switch to the overs only, unders only, and it's going to pull all the highest hit rate data. We can see 85%, 11 of 13, 85%, 17 of his last 20, and 100% for Keldon Johnson. We can see all the different players and their hit rates on each of these different lines, and we can find super high hit rates for that day based on the different props that we have for that day. And then we can just at any point click, add it to our slip, and we can generate a link for that bet and drop it to our sports book. And also I talk about odd shopping. You can odd shop straight from here. So when you click generate link, it's going to show you which sports books have the best odds, so you can place it at the sports book that has the best odds. So DataStreak is great for narrowing down the board and finding the best player and team edges each and every single day. Now we're going to talk about bankroll management and psychology when sports betting. This is probably the least sexy part about sports betting, but I can tell you it is probably the most important part. It's more important than the bets themselves. When I first started, I didn't really have a bankroll management plan, and that's why I blew up account after account. When you have a proper bankroll management plan, you're not going to blow up accounts. You can afford to go through rough days, weeks, even months without blowing up your bankroll and having to redeposit into your account. I didn't realize how big of a deal bankroll management was until I actually started executing it, and it was a complete game changer for me. I stopped riding these insane ups and downs, and I wasn't blowing up my account in a few days. I stopped putting myself in bad spots where one bad night would completely wait me out. So the first thing that you need to decide is your unit size. So what you need to do is put aside money that is only for sports betting. This isn't money for rent, bills, entertainment. This is money specifically that you can afford to lose, that you set aside just for sports betting. And you want to pick a unit size between 1 to 3% is a good unit size to start with. So if you have $1,000 bankroll, you're really supposed to only be betting $10 to $20, max $30 per bet. This is how you can stop blowing up your accounts, stop having to redeposit, and have a consistent plan that you can stick to, and have a clear, repeatable system. That way we can weather the storm. We can afford to have a bad week, a bad month. What matters is not having a bad season. And here's how to think about it when you're placing your bets. You're going to have straight bets. Those are one player, let's say points in the NBA. You're either going to pick over and under. It's a single bet, Vegas's main line. On those type of bets, you're going to place one unit on those bets. Now, when you're playing parlays, if you want to play a plus 600, plus 1,000 parlay, you are not going to place one unit on those bets. You're going to place maybe a quarter unit, even less on those type of bets. I am never putting a full unit on parlays to win huge amounts. Now I used to, and trust me, it does not end well. You're supposed to put a fraction of a unit on those plays if you are going to sprinkle those in. And that way, even if the parlay loses, I can still come out ahead. So when you practice proper bankroll management, you can afford to sprinkle in parlays, and you can lose the parlays and even lose some of your bets and still come out on top. So if I play 3 plays, one straight play at plus 100, one straight play at plus 130, and a parlay at plus 1,000 odds, I can afford to lose the parlay and lose the plus 100 bet. And if I win the plus 130 bet, I come out on top if I'm using proper bankroll management. So I'd put a unit on the 2 straight plays, I'd put a quarter unit on the plus 1,000 parlay, maybe even less, and I still have a little bit of profit at the end of the day, even though things didn't go as planned and I lost 2 out of my 3 bets I placed. Next is your daily exposure. So I don't like putting out more than 5% of my bankroll on any given day. Some of the mistakes that I ran into at first was I was putting out 50% of my bankroll or more on any given day. You don't want to put out more than 5% of your bankroll at a time. That way you can afford to have an awful day where things do not go your way and still come out looking okay and not being completely wrecked. So if my unit size is 1 to 2%, I'm usually not putting out more than 3 units on any given day. If I place a unit on 3 bets and all of them lose, it's just a bad day. It doesn't completely wreck my account. And when you're playing aggressive, trust me, when you're playing 25, 30, 50% of your account in a day, you can run it up super fast, but you also can run it down just as fast. So have a daily stop loss. If I lose this amount of units on the day, I am done for the day. And number 3 is not letting emotion blow up your plan. Most sports bettors don't lose because they have a bad system. It's because they go away from the system that they know. Every single system out there is going to have rough stretches. You can have a great read, but poor execution by the player and team, and that is out of your control. As long as you're consistently making good reads and you have a proven system, you're going to be able to execute long term. But if you continue switching your strategy up every day, every week, every month, you're going to have no type of long-term consistency. And those stretches are extremely annoying. Trust me, I know, I've been there, but they're not going to be fatal if you practice good bankroll management. Pick a day of the week, a Monday, a Tuesday, a Sunday, one day of the week where you evaluate your bankroll, see how much it's up to or down to, and recalculate what your unit size is. So the rules are simple. Pick a unit size between 1 and 3%, 5% max. When you play parlays, don't play an entire unit on those parlays, and set a daily max stop loss, which is a unit percentage or percentage of your bankroll. 5% is a good rule of thumb that you're willing to lose each day. And when you have that much out, you don't put out more, because you always have to prepare for worst case scenario that all your bets lose. You don't want it to happen, but you have to prepare as if you're going to lose every single bet that you place. If you do that, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be consistent and stick to your plan. In the next chapter, we're going to go through everything from start to finish, how you can open up data streak each day, find where the value is at, and stick to your plan and be able to stack small edges every single day and go from a blank slate to having a good set of plays together to go into that day with a really good plan. If this made sense to you and you want to use this on real slates, this is what I built for you. I built data streaks so you don't have to be a math nerd and spend hours a day in the spreadsheets. There are 25 plus tools to help you filter down the board and really find where the edges are at. You can find the highest hit rate spots, find discounted lines, factor injuries, fatigue, and matchup concepts, and even scan the board during live games for live value bets. You can start Data Streak completely free with a 7-day free trial. And the hit rate sheets on the platform we should be charging for, but we decided to make them absolutely free. The reason we made them free is because I think everybody should have the right information when they're betting, so they're at least not going to be making the dumb mistakes that I did when I first started sports betting. If you want all the tools in one place, the live betting software, the streak finder, the hit rate sheets, all you have to do is click the link below, create a free account, check out the hit rate sheets, start with those. They're free, completely free, no charge, no card required. And if you want the extra edge with all the other 25 plus tools on the platform, all you have to do is start a free trial and see if it's for you. Just when you bet, make sure you're using the proper bankroll management. And if you're ever unsure or get confused, just come back to this video and go step A through Z and make sure that you're doing everything. You're betting with a plan and not off your emotion. And if you follow that plan along with the tools inside DataStreak, you're going to be extremely consistent long-term and be able to get a nice edge. And that's the whole goal here. Stop being the person that donates to books and be the person that comes into every single day with a good bankroll plan and a good betting strategy. That way you're not going to be donating to books and you're actually going to be getting a nice edge and setting yourself up for success and betting with actual logic and data. The links below. Start a 7-day free trial and start building smarter slips today.